Hi guys! Welcome to the channel where we discuss all things related to cruising with mobility in mind. In this video, I'm going to discuss 3 reasons why I believe that the Norwegian Breakaway fell a little short when it came to addressing their cruisers who have mobility concerns. Let's get into it. On December 12th, 2023, my mom and I boarded the Norwegian Breakaway sailing out of New Orleans, Louisiana, for a 5-night Caribbean cruise. Since there was also a Carnival cruise leaving out of the port on the same day, the traffic was an absolute nightmare. This brings me to my first issue for this sailing, which is parking. There were no signs directing you to the correct area to drop off or park, and there was no designated area for disabled drop off or parking. I did not see where any accommodations were made for a disabled solo traveler, and it seemed as if it would have been almost impossible for someone in a wheelchair or scooter to park anywhere near the embarkation area. Some may argue that this is a port issue and should not reflect on Norwegian. However, it is a part of the cruising experience, and therefore I feel it should be mentioned. Once on board, things moved a little more smoothly, but I must admit that by this point I was a little cranky and ready to take a breather in our cabin. Luckily, our cabin was ready, but upon entering it, I was a little disappointed. I booked an accessible cabin for my mom and I, and in that respect, it met our needs. However, our beds barely looked made up, and our toilet only flushed after pressing the button numerous times. Number 2, narrow corridors. Number 2, the Norwegian Breakaway is an older and smaller ship, which might account for why the corridors were more narrow than what we were used to. In some instances, we could not use the hallway at all if another scooter or room attendant was in the same hallway. Also, Norwegian does not seem to have, or at least enforce, the policy of not parking a mobility scooter outside of your cabin. We noticed at least 3 scooters on our floor that were parked outside of the cabin. This made it even more difficult to traverse the narrow corridors. One fun thing to note about the carpeting in the corridors is that the fish will be swimming towards the front of the ship. This can be really helpful with figuring out which direction you're heading. Number 3, poor customer service. Perhaps the most frustrating way that Norwegian fell short with addressing their cruisers with accessibility needs was with customer service. During this cruise, my mom's scooter malfunctioned. We went to guest services and waited in a very long line to see if there was a manual wheelchair that we could borrow for the one night remaining on the cruise. We were told that there were none that could be used without Norwegian staff accompanying us. I understood this policy, but stated that we would need assistance disembarking because her scooter would start and stop at random, and we didn't know how we would get it off the ship. We were told, with an attitude I might add, that it would be up to us to get my mom to the disabled meeting area, which was on the opposite end of the ship from our room. We decided to just take our chance with the broken scooter, and it was an absolute nightmare. This was our first time on a Norwegian cruise, and even though there were some shortcomings, it was not all bad. The onboard live entertainment was pretty good, and I really enjoyed being able to see the Broadway play Six, which was awesome. Also, we saw Stomp the Floor while dining in the Manhattan Room, which was really a treat. Overall, I would not recommend Norwegian Breakaway for Swan cruises at this time. This is just my opinion based on my most recent experience. In addition to not meeting our accessibility needs, I feel that a lot of things were not communicated by staff and cruisers were left to seek out pertinent information on their own. For example, we had no idea how the disembarkation process worked or where we should pick up our luggage tags, etc. However, it was not so bad that I would not give them another chance at some point in the future. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful in any way, please help me grow my channel by subscribing, sharing, and hitting the like button. Thanks for watching.